Hey Arctic Warriors, what's up? Arctic Phoenix back again, and we're doing our predictions for the FCS playoffs this year. Okay, yes, I'm calling down from the previous vid. So my first predictions: St. Francis, PA versus Delaware. According to the research, Delaware. They have been on a cold stretch. They've been struggling against teams in their conference. Granted, the Colonial Conference is one of the better conferences in the FCS, but St. Francis, they're 9-2. They've been playing well. They got the third best point differential to anyone in the tournament. So I'm picking St. Francis, PA. Fordham versus New Hampshire. Yeah, I don't think there really is too much to discuss here. New Hampshire's also in the Colonial like Delaware, but they have looked really good. Granted, their point differential and their defense hasn't been that great, but they've actually played against decent competition, unlike Fordham. And Fordham's defense is the worst when it comes to points against in the tourney. So their defense isn't even that good. So 2 strikes against them. I'm picking New Hampshire. Gardner-Webb versus Eastern Kentucky. Yeah, I did look at Gardner-Webb. They are 6-5, but they are 0-4 against either tourney teams or FBS teams. They played a lot of FBS teams, so it's not like they're lacking experience against those teams. But Eastern Kentucky, yeah, they have, even though they're the better team on paper, Eastern Kentucky, they've been winning the games they had to. So, and I'm picking them to win this game. Weber State versus North Dakota. Weber State is definitely one of the better teams playing in the opening round. They're 9-2. They do have a win against an FBS opponent in Utah State, and they have one of the better point differentials in all college football, all FCS football, especially considering the fact that they're playing in the Big Sky. So. Plus, North Dakota, they are a good team. They are the best team in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, not named South Dakota State or North Dakota State. So, there's that. So, anyhow, I'm picking Weber State. They've looked like a much better team on paper. So, okay. Southeastern Missouri State versus Montana. I've been following Montana. They haven't been too hot late in the year. But they have a lot of experience playing against good teams, considering the fact that they're in the Big Sky. So, they have a good. Plus, they look like much better team than Missouri, Southeast Missouri State. So, I'm picking Montana this game. I think they'll bounce back. So. Idaho versus Southeastern Louisiana. I'm smelling upset right here. Idaho has looked really good this year, especially in their conference. They're 1-3, but their losses against the FBS schools, they came pretty close in those losses. Especially against Washington State. So yeah, even though they've proven they can compete. Louisiana, they haven't had too strong of a schedule. Plus, they're in the Southland Conference, which kind of sucks if you ask me. So, better conference and all that. I'm picking Idaho in the upset. Elon versus Furman. Elon is deceptively good this year. Their stats may not show up, but they have gotten wins in their conference, including against Delaware and Richmond, who I think they're in the same conference as them. So even though they're statistically not that great, they have quality wins, unlike Furman. So I'm picking Elon in the upset here. Richmond Davidson. Richmond hasn't. I mean, Richmond actually has quality wins. They're 2-3 and either FBS teams or against teams in the tourney. Davidson has none of that experience. Plus, they're not even in the most good prestigious conference. They're in the Pioneer Conference, which, yeah, on paper isn't that good. So I'm picking Richmond this game. So, all right, second round. South Dakota State versus St. Francis, PA. So I don't really think there's too much to discuss here. I mean, South Dakota State's been one of the best teams all year. Plus, they came close in their game against Iowa, which is their only loss of the season. So, excuse me. So, I'm picking South Dakota State. So, Holy Cross versus New Hampshire. Yes, another team with an undefeated record who plays in a not that good conference. So, and also New Hampshire, yeah, they have had actually do have a quality win in their conference, and they are also 7-1. Once again, Colonial Conference. So I'm picking New Hampshire to move on. William and Mary in Eastern Kentucky. Not really too much to discuss here. William Mary, better record, more prestigious conference, better stats. Definitely picking William and Mary. Montana State versus Weber. Battle the Big Sky teams. So, yeah, they're both really good teams. It's a shame that one of these teams are going to have to be knocked out here. And I think it's Weber State, especially considering the fact Montana State beat them earlier in the year. So, yeah, I'm going Montana State here. North Dakota State versus Montana. So, yeah, it may not look too good for North Dakota State. They're 9-2 and their only quality wins against North Dakota. But they have looked better as of late than Montana. I mean, Montana has struggled. They lost to Sacramento State. They lost to Idaho. They just got blown out by Montana State. So, yeah, I don't think they're any match for the Bison. So, I'm picking North Dakota State this game. Idaho Stanford. I'm smelling upset here. Idaho, I mean, they've been playing some great football as of late. So, and plus, like I said, they play in the Big Sky Conference, probably the best conference in the FCS. I don't see much out of their conference for Stanford. I mean, they don't have the experience. Statistically, they're not as good. I mean, the Stanford's just in a paper ranking right now. I'm picking Idaho in the upset. UIU. Carson at Word versus Elon. I mean, and Carson at Word definitely they have far and away the best offense in terms of points scored per game. And they also have a solid defense. But once again, Southland Conference, they're not really the best conference. I mean, Elon, they are a team that's capable of being in Carson at Word. Like, they have a good record in their conference. So I'd watch out for them. But I do think Incarnate Word is might be slightly better. I mean, so I'm picking Incarnate Word. Sacramento State versus Richmond. Not really too much to discuss here. I'm picking Sac State. So, okay. Quarterfinals. South Dakota State versus New Hampshire. I mean, I don't think there's really too much to discuss here. I mean, South Dakota State looked like the better team all year. New Hampshire's just not on their level. I'm picking the Jackrabbits. William and Mary versus Montana State. I don't know why, but I think William and Mary, they definitely have a chip on their shoulder. I mean, yes, Montana State's just as capable of winning this game and advancing, but I feel like William and Mary, they got something to prove. I mean, and even though also Montana State's, man, even though it's been greatly exacerbated because of the game against Oregon State, I really do think William and Mary is going to pull off the upset here. North Dakota State versus Idaho. Idaho's Cinderella run is going to end here. North Dakota State, they're just way too good of a team. They have way too much of a pedigree. I'm picking North Dakota State. Incarnate Word versus Sacramento State. Sacramento State's way too good. They've played against way too many good teams. They've pulled through in close games, pulled through in blowouts. They can win any way possible. I'm going Sac State. South Dakota State versus William and Mary. I think this should be an interesting matchup. I mean, but William and Mary has a better offense, but South Dakota State's defense, they're just way too good. They have the best defense out of anyone in the tournament, so I'm picking them to go to the final. North Dakota State versus Sacramento State. This should be a good matchup. I mean, North Dakota State's pedigree versus Sacramento State's dominance. But I think this year, Sacramento State's, they have beaten everyone in their way this year. And I don't think that's stopping at North Dakota State. They're going to the final. FCS National Championship game. Sacramento State versus South Dakota State. These are the two best teams in college FCS football right now. If they want to, they can go in the FBS and compete against anyone. I mean, I'm not saying anyone, but a good percentage of those teams. And I think this year, even though South Dakota State, they looked like a better team this year, at least on paper, Sacramento State, they are just way too battle-tested. They have beaten everyone in their way, and they have way too much of a chip on their shoulder to back down. I think it's going to be 20-17. Sacramento State's winning the FCS championship this year. I mean, and here's my bracket. I mean, feel free to share your brackets and who you think's going to go all the way. This is my opinion. I mean, thanks for watching. Thank you. Have a nice day.